Last week, we renewed our baptismal promises. We were asked several questions. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in Jesus Christ, his only Son? Do you believe in the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church? And each time, as a congregation, we said, I do. What does it mean to say, I believe? What does it mean to be a person of faith? It's a rather large topic. Today's reading from the 21st chapter of John, with its familiar story about the doubting Thomas's struggle to believe, gives us an opportunity to reflect on how it is that we believe. But let's go back to last Sunday's readings and pick up two more actors in the faith drama in order to get a point of reference for Thomas, and then to ask which of the three best reflects our own experience. We have three persons: John, Mary, and Thomas. John goes to the tomb with Peter, and it's John who looks inside, sees the empty tomb, and believes. It's as simple as that. No questions asked, no doubts. Then we have Mary. At some masses last Sunday, we heard the story of Mary going to the tomb and finding it empty. Mary doesn't believe right away, as does John. She even sees Jesus in the garden, but doesn't recognize him. It's only when Jesus calls her by name, Mary, and she answers Rabboni, which means teacher, that she recognizes him. She doesn't quite go as far as Thomas will with his exclamation. She just calls him teacher. And then finally, Thomas, the doubter, the one who will not accept the fact that Jesus is risen unless he can see and touch him. I won't believe, he says, until I can put my fingers in his side and my hands in his wounds. Until then, I will not believe. Jesus appears and stands before him, and Thomas's demands vanishes. There's no recording of his touching the side or the wounds. He simply makes this expression, my Lord and my God. Much more sophisticated than Mary's teacher. And one would say that the one who took the longest to believe ends up with the most developed belief. What about us? Are we like John or Mary or Thomas? Perhaps we're like all three at different times in our lives or concerning different aspects of the faith. Some accept without question, as did John. Others of us struggle to recognize Christ in our midst, like Mary. We have the right intentions, but can't seem to come to the right conclusion. Or perhaps we're Thomas, not seeming to believe at all, making demands on God before we agree to give our assent of faith. Sometimes we're all three mixed in together, or at different stages in our lives, find ourselves a John for many years, and because of something that happens to us or to a friend, we begin to doubt like Thomas, or maybe confused like Mary, and ask the wrong questions. As I indicated, this is a broad topic, but part of our responsibility to each other is to be attentive to the needs of the other, especially when the other is suffering and struggling with questions of faith. We need to be there to help. Most times there's no one thing we can say to make everything right. It's really not a question of doing anything, but rather being someone, a friend who believes in God's all-powerful love, even when it's difficult for another to see it because of the tension of the moment, an illness, a family problem, a death. We can simply stand with that person and be the possible mediator of God's love and concern. We can listen, console, to share their pain. I've always liked the response of the person in the gospel who was asked by Jesus, "Do you believe?" And the person said, "Yes, Lord, I do believe, but help me in my unbelief." That's a good prayer for all of us to know. Yes, Lord, I do believe. Help me in my unbelief.